Although the economy remains one of the most debated issues, voters do have other concerns, of course. Transport is still seen as a big problem. With the bank holiday likely to bring more congestion this weekend, our transport correspondent Peter Plesner has been looking at how the parties would reduce the number of cars on our roads.
Yes, Peter joins us this evening live from the RAC Control Centre near the M6 motorway. Over to you, Peter.
Yes, Nick, as you can see, pretty busy on the M6, but it was busier earlier. We're told there's heavy traffic further north between junctions 13 and 15. The M42 busy around the M40 junction, and up in Stoke, the A500, there's traffic jams there this evening, and the M54 A5 close to Wellington. But with or without the bank holiday traffic, there's still a serious congestion problem out there, and it's a problem that does need to be solved. The M6 through the West Midlands, a vital transport corridor or a car park? Sometimes it's difficult to tell the difference. It's a daily congestion nightmare that causes delays and costs money and lost time.
It just seems to be pretty bad everywhere.
Ben Turner suffers it most days. He commutes from Birmingham to Stoke.
I leave at 7, so you think there won't be much traffic in the morning at 7 on the motorways. But there is, and on the way back home it can be anything between an hour and 2 hours depending on what's happening.
But the bad news for Ben is that most party manifestos rule out major road building programmes. Instead, they're suggesting more schemes like this, where the hard shoulder is opened up to drivers at peak times. Already successful on the M42 east of Birmingham, the managed motorway system is now being introduced elsewhere in the UK, including many parts of the M6 around Birmingham.
It's welcomed by motorists, and it's a way of bringing a lot of extra capacity on to relieve congestion for motorists on bottlenecks across the motorway network nationwide.
All the main parties talk about getting better use out of the existing road network, although the Conservatives haven't ruled out some new roads where there's a serious congestion problem. However, like the M6 toll, drivers might have to pay to use them.
The M6 toll provides an interesting example of innovative ways in which one can help take forward road improvement plans, and certainly we think that we could possibly build on that precedent.
But ultimately, fewer new roads means that all parties are keen to support high-speed rail as a way of getting cars off our congested motorways. It's also popular with drivers.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, especially on long journeys. I mean, the TGV through France is brilliant, you know, to Paris.
I think the sooner that we get the infrastructure and money invested into the rail infrastructure, the better.
If the railways were better, I would use them a lot more.
And on rail, the Liberal Democrats go even further. They plan to transfer money earmarked for roads into a special rail expansion fund. A list of potential schemes issued a few weeks ago envisages reopening disused railway lines like this one that runs between Walsall and Lichfield.
The days of road widening, of new dual carriageways, of new motorways are over, and the money the government has identified for those schemes is better spent on rail. The Green Party too support more investment in rail. Its manifesto goes even further by calling for the railways to be renationalised.
At the moment, the railways are fragmented terribly. It makes it very complicated. It makes it very, very expensive. Hundreds of millions are spent every year negotiating contracts. Bringing it back into public ownership would allow lots and lots of money to be spent on improving the system, and it would bring down rail fares and make public transport far more effective for everybody.
And something the Greens and all the other parties are agreed on is greater use of electric vehicles. Graham Sandring is one of those taking part in a government-backed trial here in the Midlands.
I was spending about £50 a week on diesel, and at the moment charging up every night, that's about £1 a night, so that's £7 a night or £7 a week instead.
Solving the congestion problem on our roads won't be easy, although there are obviously differences about how it can be achieved. Most agree that if progress is to be made, then the next government will have to commit to spending much more money on transport in the future. Well, joining me here at the RAC is Matt Dalloway from the RAC. I mean, first tell me, what do you make of the party manifestos? Presumably as the voice of the motorists, you're disappointed there's not more in there about roads.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I've read the manifestos and quite a range of ideas in there. Rail networks feature quite highly. Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, after the motorists contribute £50 billion a year in taxes, I think I'm disappointed to see only £9 billion reinvested in the network, fundamentally.
So what's your message to any new government from the RAC?
Yeah, we recently polled about 7,000 of our members, and there's two key points coming out of there. Clearly, the potholes is a big issue for people, and also the fact that could they reduce motoring costs through the tax process. And I think finally, the congestion is an issue, and we'd like to see some more initiatives like the hard shoulder running the M42 in the Midlands.
So, Matt, the big question is, how bad is it going to be over the bank holiday weekend?
Yeah, I think the weather is very, very important here. Will it drive people out? Hopefully, it keeps clear so people do get a chance to enjoy the bank holiday. But if it is wet, I don't think the roads will be as busy as maybe planned.
Matt, many thanks. Well, it might be disappointing for those who want to sun themselves in the garden, but if you're on the roads, the fact that it's raining means that less people are heading out over the weekend, so it should be better on the roads than perhaps a normal bank holiday weekend.
That is a blessing.
Yeah,
Peter, thanks very much indeed.